Right now on NECN, new details in the terror attack in New Orleans. What we know about the suspect, a possible motive, and some of the victims after a horrific New Year's. And could the terror attack in New Orleans be linked to an explosion on the Vegas Strip? We'll talk about the connection investigators are now looking into. And here at home, one person is hurt in a New Year's Day shooting in Boston. How the victim is doing and what one witness has to say. NECN This Morning starts right now. Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Bianca Beltran in for Melody This Morning. Jeff Saperstone will be joining me shortly. It is Thursday, January 2nd, and we are expecting a pretty windy day today all around the region. Let's take a live look out over Boston this morning. You could see the clouds over the sunny sky just emerging this morning. Beautiful day, but it's going to be chilly. Meteorologist Pamela Gardner is here with your first alert weather. Good morning, Pamela.
Hey, good morning, Bianca. We have wind advisories posted through tonight because we've already experienced some winds peaking between 40 and 45 miles per hour. It's coming from the west, but later today we could get as high as 50 to 60, especially in the mountains, higher elevations, and at the coastline. That's also where we could see some pockets of damage and outages. And then you go north and west, Vermont, highest terrain, northern Coos County in New Hampshire. That's where we have actually wintry weather that we're watching. So first to the wind, peak gusts right now 45 in Boston, and it's so windy and chilly out there. It's technically 38 degrees here in the city, feeling more like 27. The wind chill will be a factor for the rest of today as it feels like the teens in some locations. And we still have this upslope snow potential. The mountains more specifically will see several inches of accumulation over the next 2 days. Here's how it breaks down, feeling like the 20s to teens, north low 30s, southern New England. Bundle up and hunker down with all that wind. I'll have more on the timing and the track and the snow totals in just a bit.
Now to our top story this morning. All eyes are on New Orleans after at least 15 people were killed in a terror attack there. Dozens more were injured when a driver plowed into a crowd in the French Quarter early yesterday morning. Now officials are continuing to investigate the incident this morning. Let's bring in NBC's Jay Gray, who is live in New Orleans where that horrific scene played out. Jay, what is the latest on this tragedy?
Hey, Bianca. Well, Canal Street here on the edge of the French Quarter still locked down. We're in the middle of the street. Bourbon Street, obviously, where this took place, locked down as well. There's still a very active investigation and could be for quite some time. We know that normally at this hour in New Orleans, there would be a hustle and bustle to the start of the day along this very busy street. But there's an eerie silence here right now and a real concern as so many here, along with investigators, are searching for answers now. Chaos in the French Quarter. This truck darting around a police vehicle, then accelerating into a crowd on Bourbon Street.
It was pandemonium. It was obviously emergency vehicles everywhere. Police were everywhere. Bodies, folks were just running through the streets.
At least 15 killed, dozens injured in what the FBI has labeled a suspected terror attack.
An ISIS flag was located on the trailer hitch of the vehicle. Weapons and potential improvised explosive devices, IEDs, were located in the subject's vehicle.
The suspect, identified as 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar, a U.S. citizen from Texas who spent a decade in the Army. After crashing into a roadside crane, Jabbar apparently jumping from the vehicle. And after wounding 2 officers, killed in a shootout with police. Agents now indicating he likely had help carrying out the attack.
We do not believe that Jabbar was solely responsible. We are aggressively running down every lead, including those of his known associates.
Law enforcement teams searching the suspect's home in Houston and the scene of an overnight fire at a New Orleans Airbnb, where investigators believe some of the explosive devices may have been assembled. 2 additional IEDs located in the French Quarter were rendered safe. The area still locked down as the investigation continues. Yeah, and look, that investigation, as we talked about earlier, really just in the beginning stages and focused not only here, but as we talked about, the home of the suspect in Texas, as well as that Airbnb, which may hold some of the answers as to who could have been an accomplice in all of this, Bianca.
Jay, thank you for your reporting there. And this morning, we're learning more about the people killed in this tragedy. Friends and family have started sharing their stories. Nicole Perez was a mother and a local deli manager. Also killed was Kareen Badawi and Matthew Tenedorio, an audio-visual technician for the Superdome. Now, his family says it was his dream job. Meanwhile, Martin Tiger Besh was a former Princeton football player. Nakira Cheyenne Dedeaux, a recent high school grad who wanted to be a nurse. Hubert Guthrow and Reggie Hunter, who was the father of 2 young children. And we continue with our coverage in New Orleans. Safety concerns remain on the top of minds for many in the area. NECN's Manash Kangwari is live in Boston with what local experts are saying. Good morning, Manash.
Well, we know that this incident happened on New Year's Eve, and there was a large crowd that was present, a crowd similar to what we saw here in downtown Boston for first night that same night. Now, Mass State Police are coming out and saying there is no known threat or connection to what happened in New Orleans to right here in Massachusetts. Still, they are urging people to be on high alert, especially considering that the FBI is saying this 42-year-old attacker likely did not act alone. And when you take into account some of the things that were found in the vehicle he was driving, like the ISIS flag or the weapons, the explosive devices, it's the very reason why local law enforcement officials are urging you to keep your eyes open. We were able to speak to a man named Joseph Brown. He's a UMass political professor, and he says the Islamic State has really been focused on these types of attacks lately.
Their best way of keeping their name in the headlines is to encourage self-radicalized individuals to carry out do-it-yourself low-tech attacks.
This person is sort of the typical suspect we would have, disaffected, going through a personal crisis. Most likely he's been consuming a lot of dogma and propaganda from terrorist groups such as ISIS online.
That was a retired FBI agent. He went on to say, remain vigilant in public spaces. And if you happen to see something out of the ordinary or suspicious, contact police as soon as possible. Reporting in Boston, I'm Manash Kangwari.
Manash, thank you for bringing in that local insight. Meanwhile, a Lynn City councilor was actually visiting Bourbon Street Tuesday night. Councilor Fred Hogan left the area safely before the attack happened. He's in New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl, supporting a football player from Lynn on the University of Georgia team. Now, Hogan says incidents like this can inform how city leaders across the country prepare for large events in their communities.
This will always help you prevent like this happening in your city, you know, but there's some bad individuals in the road, and this is just a terrible tragedy, and we're just praying for all the families of everyone that got killed and injured.
Officials in New Orleans postponed the Sugar Bowl from last night to this afternoon in the interest of public safety. And investigators are now looking to see if there were any connections between the deadly crash in New Orleans and a Tesla Cybertruck that exploded outside of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. And we want to warn you, the video we are about to show you is intense. Security cameras showed the moments after the truck erupted into flames yesterday. 9 people were injured in that explosion. Several law enforcement sources tell NBC News the driver who died in the blast was a 37-year-old from Colorado Springs, and authorities are looking into a possible military connection between him and the driver in the New Orleans crash. Now, the video shows what appears to be fireworks going off in the aftermath. And photos from after the fire was put out show the remains of fireworks packages along with fuel typically used for camp stoves. Now, investigators say the Cybertruck was rented using an app called Turo, the same one used to rent the truck used in the deadly New Orleans attack.
We're able to trace that truck through the Tesla charging stations, and it arrived here in Las Vegas this morning at about 7:30 and went up and down Las Vegas Boulevard before immediately pulling into the Trump Towers.
Several law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, carried out a search warrant at the man's Colorado home. Tesla CEO Elon Musk confirmed that the Cybertruck itself was functioning normally and that the blast was caused by explosives inside of the truck.